It's my absolute delight to introduce Jason Wilson. Jason, as you've heard, is a Gamilaroi and Uluru ancestor and the local engagement officer for the Commonwealth Environmental Water Office. Jason works super hard to incorporate Aboriginal values into water initiatives, and he has dedicated his life to stop the intergenerational, cultural, spiritual, and economic genocide and provide equity for and empower Aboriginal people. Jason chairs the Narran Lakes Joint Management Committee with the Office of Environment and Heritage, tackling climate change adaptation. He loves sport, travel, fishing, good food, friends, having a yarn, and capacity building the broader Aboriginal community. Sounds pretty good to me. Last but not least, Jace loves his country and family. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Deb. The next slide, hopefully that it comes up this time. There you go. I've only got one slide, so I'll talk to it. I'll talk all around it. So there's my very silly attempt to, with my bull roarer there, strapping a radio telescope or whatever you do with them now to track a turtle, a beautiful short-necked turtle shell that was left on the side of the riverbank. I'd say a fox might have got him or something like that. But there's a number of things of cultural value from Aboriginal people. And I've got to say up front, there's not a great deal of Western science that we understand about it. There's been this, I remember being in a forum where a bloke grabbed the ruler and said, our Aboriginal cultures is just a little bit like this ruler. It's very flexible. And then he broke it and it fell to pieces. And he's picking up those pieces. We can start to mend some of these pieces. And part of mending those pieces is to share each other's knowledge. And that two-way learning is very important, not only for me just now, in the recent couple of weeks that I've been asked to come on here by Deborah, but, you know, into the future with any work that we do. So some of those works that is Aboriginal people, cultural values are out there. When I was talking to my auntie out of Colorinabri, she said it's a timepiece, you know, like the 13 large shell pieces that are in the middle part of they represent 28 days of the year, which makes up around 364 days of the year, or possibly whenever there's a different season occurring. So imagine having a nice big turtle shell up on top of your wall, giving you some idea of the month or the year or certainly the change in the season. So binging, it's a rite of passage in the mountains back towards Tabulum, in those beautiful communities up there on the Clarence River. So the football team there is called the Tabulum Turtle Divers. And if you haven't been binging when you're a kid, you don't play for that side at all. So it's translating traditional culture, I suppose, back to the new way of looking at culture. And part of that new way of culture is, they say, football prowess is one of those things. So the young fellas have to go through, as a part of being a boy to a man, and learn how to bing, or binging they call it. And it's they do it now with goggles, but back in the day they showed you, they blow the bubbles up under their eyes and they can use them as goggles in the water there. But I tell you what, it's a good day out. It's also considered women's business in the north. I'm saying the north, I mean right up into Kakadu and places like that, to harvest turtles in the dry season. So a good friend, a real turtle enthusiast, Enzo, talked about his experience up there when he was around, I think, Menengrita and places like that, where it was, because he was a unmarried man and he was doing all this turtle work and he had to go with the women to learn it. He had to, he was almost being married off every time he turned up. But he seen, a couple of his observations was that women did a lot of the harvesting of turtles, and it's a contrast when it's fun and not hard work that the men do it down here in New South Wales. So those women, hats off the women's. It's hard work, that turtle harvesting. Yeah, so it's definitely a food. It's the same as the yellow snow principle applies here around my country. You do not eat the long neck ones. It's the tasty short neck ones that we chase, and you just ask the turtle eaters over there in Charleville. I can safely say that around here we don't eat those turtles as much as our counterparts in the neighbouring catchment. But I think once we learn more about the program or the projects, we'll be able to assist in not only propagating them and getting them free, and we might be able to get back to a point where we can harvest and eat too. It's a water creator or a feature in the country. There are many stories of turtles, not only in my country but in neighbouring countries. Plenty of Dreamtime stories of the turtle being flipped over and appears as mountain ranges, or the water that spills from rain still comes through either porous rock springs or sphagnum swamps. But it's all about that, the ability for the turtle to present and hold water or be present near water. So it's quite a wonderful attribute that the turtle still immortalised in some features in the landscape. It's a protector. My creation story, and I don't know if you got the first slide when I gave the welcome to country, is Narran, the Narran Lake system. So Nyanaba is the red-bellied black snake, and Wayamba is the turtle, and they are the protectors of that country. So part of that creation story, Burugu. So it's important that they have a place in the landscape. And not last but not least, but language from country. My language is quite extensive here. We've kept a lot of our language, and we're learning it through school. My son learned it right through from year 2 right through to year 6. He's gone into high school and they don't do it there, which is a real shame. But the long-necked turtles are called Girra-biri. It should be an A there after that, Girri. So that's what we call the short neck, and the long neck, and the short necks we call Wayamba and Yarrabah. So there's a nice, again, talking about that landscape feature, there's a park just outside of a national park just outside of Tamworth, which is called Warrabah, and that is the home of where the birth of the short-necked turtle before he came down the Namoi and started populating a lot of the rivers out this way here. And probably the last thing that I'd throw up there, what does turtle taste like? I put a question mark in amongst that. I don't know what turtle tastes like. I've never tasted the turtle. I'd love to taste the turtle. I've dodged a turtle experience, or tortoise experience, I suppose, on the coast, and I don't know if I could bring myself to eating one, but I'll from a cultural perspective, I think I might have to. But also on where rocks are, and out our way, we don't have a great many mountain ranges. We have flat, beautiful black soil plains. So we depict them when we do our ceremonies as on the ground. So we make mounds and make the shape of the turtles. We do have small stone arrangements that we have on country back out behind me, if you want to call it, to the north at Angledool, and we depict the turtles that way. But it's nice to see. I grabbed the photo off the net of turtles being depicted on rock paintings. That's wonderful. And there's also a picture in there, some Aboriginal people down in the south. They're working with the Mer teams down there, or possibly, the Living Murray, that they do a fair bit of turtle research down there, and I think they thoroughly enjoy their time at it. But all I want to do is, when Deb comes out to country, I want to learn how to build a turtle island. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to learn about turtles, but also impart some of my turtle knowledge. Thank you.